Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Jen, I'm in law school, and I just make videos vlogging that experience. And today we're doing a law school Q&A, and I'll be answering some of the questions that I get asked most often on my videos. So before we get into it, just a little bit of background on me. I'm 27, I go to law school at Arizona State University. I am in my last semester of law school right now. I took 2 years between undergrad and law school. And so I graduate in a few months, and I think that's all the background we need. So I'll dive into some questions that I get. So the first thing I get asked is just what you should major in as an undergrad if you want to go to law school, and what I majored in. So I double majored in dance and political science at the University of Arizona, and then I had a minor in pre-law. But you don't have to major in anything specific to go to law school, so you can really major in whatever interests you. Oh, I meant to say this at the beginning. Anything I say is just my opinion. The only qualification I have for answering these questions is that I'm in law school. So take it all with a grain of salt, just my opinions. I'm not an academic counselor, nothing of the sort. So just so you know that. But so yeah, you can major in whatever interests you in undergrad. However, your GPA does matter when you apply to law school, so you'll want it to be something that hopefully you enjoy and can do well in. If you want to do patent law though, you will need an undergrad degree in science or engineering, so keep that in mind. And that's, if you're interested at all in science or engineering, setting yourself up to do patent law would be great, because not a lot of law students have a background in science or engineering, so that's that. If you're interested, I would say try to keep your writing skills up during undergrad. So maybe any major that has you writing, papers, creative writing maybe, I don't know. Just, you're gonna have to write a lot in law school, so to keep those skills fresh would be a good thing to do. But yeah, you can major in whatever you want. I spent most of my undergrad in a dance studio. I did poli-sci mostly online, same with pre-law, because my dance major took up all my time, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. So whatever interests you. You don't need any specific undergraduate degree to apply to law school. Another question I get asked in a similar vein is what high school students can do if they're thinking about law school in the future. And I think you don't need to be doing anything in high school that's directly preparing you for law school. Do well, try to get into a good college, or a college where you'll do well because your GPA will matter when you apply to law school, but I don't think there's anything you need to do in high school. Just enjoy it. And if you do enjoy things like mock trial or Model UN or anything like that, starting to develop public speaking skills will definitely help you in law school. Same as I was kind of saying with undergrad students, start to work on your writing skills and just build them up, because you'll be doing a ton of writing in law school. So that's what I would say on that, but I don't think you guys need to stress yourselves out. I don't think anything you do in high school is gonna make or break your law school experience. So enjoy it, do well. Learn to be good people, be nice to each other. In high school, I didn't even know I was gonna go to law school, so, and I'm doing just fine, so you'll be okay. Okay, the next question that I get asked often is how I chose ASU for law school. So I was actually already living here in Scottsdale before I applied, and so then when I started applying, I applied to ASU and then a lot of other schools, honestly all around the country. And then once I got into ASU, I really liked living in Scottsdale and just didn't want to leave. ASU is a top 25 law school. It's a great school. I didn't really see a need to go anywhere else. And the financials just sort of worked out. I don't know, I feel like things just sort of fell into place for ASU, and I was gonna need to really love another school if I was going to move again, because I had just moved to Scottsdale kind of recently. So yeah, I was already living here. It's a great school. I saw no reason to leave once I got in. Okay, another question I got asked is just my post-grad plans and what I'm doing after graduation. I will be sitting for Arizona's bar, and I have taken a job at a law firm here when I graduate. It's the same firm that I worked at this past summer. So those are my post-grad plans. I'm taking the July bar, the March MPRE. That's the responsibility exam you need to take. So those are my plans. I will take you guys along through bar prep and all of it. We will go through this together, so yikes. Anyways, those are my plans. I'm gonna sit for Arizona's bar and work here when I graduate. And I'm excited. I love the firm that I worked for last summer, so I'm excited to continue on with them. Okay, another question I got asked was just hardest and easiest classes in law school thus far. I have not found an easy class in law school, so if anyone has, I wish I knew that sooner. So I really haven't found any easy classes. Having said that, I have had classes where they don't cold call. That makes life a lot easier. So the day-to-day was easier in that regard, but a final exam is a final exam. I haven't found any easy classes in law school. Hardest classes in law school, the most work I've ever had to do for a class was a class I took last semester called Writing for Law Practice, and we had assignments due every week, and they were like all over the map. We had to draft a contract and then write a complaint and a client letter. Like, it was all types of things that you would write in both litigation and transactional work, and just having it due every week, that was so crazy. Like, they were due on Thursday mornings. I was up until 2 or 3 in the morning on Wednesday nights every week last semester. And that's not because I procrastinated, it's just because they were time-consuming assignments, so even if I started earlier, that was really hard. But that was just the largest workload I've had. As far as subject matter, business organizations that I took last semester was really tough. Like, just the subject matter was really tough for me because I don't have a business background. So it was a lot of underlying concepts that didn't make sense to me, and then I had to learn the law on top of it. So that was really tough, but it's tested on the bar, so I'm glad I took it. I loved administrative law, but I thought it was really hard and really complicated. I absolutely loved it, but it was really complicated. I found trusts and estates to be pretty difficult. It's just a lot of information, and I found it kind of to be dry information, so it was just like a lot to learn, and it wasn't that interesting in my book. So, but again, that's a bar subject too, so glad I took it. But those were some of the hardest classes, I think. I think biz orgs might take the cake. It was just like a foreign language to me. I actually did well in the class, which is amazing, but it was a lot of work. But I've said this in a previous Q&A, when it comes to like hardest and easiest in law school, I take most of my classes based on who's teaching them. So once I find a good professor, I kind of just follow them all over the law school. So that's been my approach, and it's served me pretty well. So another question I get asked frequently is just the biggest differences between undergrad and law school. So I would say on the day-to-day, the biggest difference is that you have to read before class in law school, and then they will cold call you for the answer. So they would just be like, Jen, what was this case about? And you need to have read ahead of time, and you're sort of put on the spot in class. So I don't think I had any undergrad classes that followed that format. So that's the biggest difference, I think, is just always needing to be prepared for class. Showing up isn't enough anymore. You have to prepare and read. And then the other major difference is that you only get one final exam, and that's your whole grade for most of your law school classes. So unlike undergrad, where you probably had quizzes and tests, or at least like a midterm and a final or something, you just get one final grade in law school. Some of my professors 1L year did give us a midterm, but it didn't really count for much. Like, your final exam was still determinative of your grade. So that's a big difference. Finals have a lot more pressure on them than they did in undergrad because they're your whole grade. And then lastly, the grades in law school are curved. So your grades are entirely based on how your classmates perform. You may have had undergrad classes like that, but that will be all of your classes in law school. At least that's how it is at ASU. I know some law schools are moving away from the curve and moving away from grades in general, which, lucky you guys, but ASU still has a curve, one final exam, that's it. So those, I think, are the biggest differences. It's just, everything's a lot more high stakes, I feel like class is a little more nerve-wracking because you might get cold called. Finals are a little more nerve-wracking because that's your whole grade. So I don't know, it's just a lot more pressure in my opinion, but you get used to it, and certainly by your 2L year, like, you'll have a new normal, and you'll know what works for you and stuff like that. Switching gears a little, I want to talk about law students' mental health, because I get quite a few questions about that because law students don't have a great reputation in that department. So I can just speak on my experience, and it has varied given what year of school I was in. There's this saying that 1L year they scare you to death, 2L year they work you to death, and 3L year they bore you to death. I don't think I've been bored to death this semester, but the first two parts are definitely true. 1L year is really rough, and I think this is a common feeling. You just feel like everyone in every room is smarter than you. Just remember that everybody feels like that, and it's not true. The whole room is not smarter than you. you wouldn't be in law school if you weren't smart, so just keep that in mind. Something else that helped me too, I started interning at a law firm second semester 1L year, and any positive feedback I got from my boss there would really make me feel good and just like a reminder that I'm not actually stupid and it's all in my head. So just any extracurriculars or internships or something, I think that helps, but just try to remind yourself that everybody feels like that and it gets better. 2L year, it really, like, the amount of work was crazy. I stopped using a planner 2L year because listing out everything I had to do was so daunting to me that I just stopped. And it was just, I felt like I was drowning and I just wanted to stay in bed because I knew what was awaiting me when I would get out of bed every morning, and it was just a ton of work. My only advice there, take things one task at a time. Do not look at the big picture because it's a lot of work. Just write one page of your journal note. Just read for one class. Like, just focus on the task in front of you and try not to look at your huge to-do list, because 2L year, there's just so much going on between journal, job applications, clinics if you're doing one. Like, it's a lot. So take it one step at a time. 3L year, at least last semester, it sort of felt like a continuation of 2L year. I had so much work. And then my mom got diagnosed with cancer, and it really reminded me that, like, it's just law school. So I feel like I'm actually, when it comes to law school, in a better mental place now, because I'm really reminded daily that it's just law school. Like, it's not your life, it's just school, and that's helped me put it into perspective. Although I will say now I have this new sort of anxiety creeping up on me as I approach graduation, which is like a new version of imposter syndrome, that if I pass the bar, I will then be a lawyer, and I don't know how to do that. So like, that's a little scary, but I just remind myself that people become lawyers all the time. There's always new lawyers. Lots of people have figured out how to do this. I can do it too. It's been a ride. I think 1L year was probably the worst, because like 2L year, it's a lot of work, but I've had times in my life where I had a lot of work. 1L year, I've never felt that like inadequate. Like, I just honestly, I just felt stupid all the time. Starting law school is like learning to walk. So you're just starting from scratch, and that can be really hard as an adult. So just be nice to yourself, and always, no matter what year of school you're in, make sure you have stuff going on outside of law school. I've always taught ballet once a week, or now I'm teaching it twice a week, but like, so helpful to just be in a room of people who aren't in law school, talking about nothing law related, exercising a little creativity. It's been really helpful. A lot of my friends are not in law school, so just make sure you have stuff outside of it to put everything in perspective, and it'll make you that much more productive and level-headed when you are doing law school stuff if you have time away from it. So to just live in it, I think, can get really scary. So yeah, mental health has been a ride, but remember, it's just law school. I can't stress that enough. It's only school. It's not your life, it's not you, it's not who you are, it's just what you're doing. Okay, you guys, hopefully that was helpful if you're in law school, thinking about applying, or just curious about this video. I'm gonna be doing a video next week on tips for 1L. So if you're 1L right now and just looking for some motivation, look out for that video. But thanks so much for watching. I will see you in future vlogs, future sit-down videos. Happy to do as many of these Q&As as I see. So if you guys ever have questions, just drop them in the comments, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.